Major flooding around the country has wreaked havoc for businesses, private dwellings and devastated the homes of families living in low-lying areas, particularly in places like Kwa-Zulu Natal and the Eastern Cape, with Gauteng also experiencing adverse impacts last week. There is no doubt that the insurance industry has been flooded with claims as a result of weather-related events, but to what extent are claims covered in instances like these? Well, to share her observations, I'm joined by Ms. Teixeira-Mckinon. She's lead Ombud from the non-life insurance side. Thanks very much, Edith, for joining us. So just give us a sense of how successful are people being, able to make claims at times like these, particularly for weather-related claims?
I would say, first of all, thank you for having me on the program. The people with insurance are successful. What we see at the non-life division of the National Financial Ombud are, of course, when people are not so successful. But that's only really a drop in the ocean of the number of claims that actually get approved by insurers, especially during catastrophic events such as severe storms. One must always remember that insurance, non-life insurance, is an indemnity product. So it indemnifies you for future, for sudden, for unforeseen events. It's not there to cover you for loss or damage arising that is expected. It's really the unexpected that happens by chance or by accident. However, there are terms and conditions that apply as they apply to any contract that is entered into. And those are, of course, the exclusions that insurers are entitled to apply to claims, obviously, if they can prove that the rejection is applicable in the particular set of circumstances. Yeah. So they're not going to cover you for damage that's been happening over a period of time. But when there is a catastrophic event, obviously, the insurer will have a much more difficult time to prove that that portion of the damage was as a result of a lack of maintenance and the balance is as a result of the catastrophic storm. The less severe cases, they might be able to.
Yeah, Edith, I wanted to ask you, have you, as the Ombud, received complaints that the insurance sector hasn't been coming to the party when it comes to weather-related claims? Because, as you mentioned, there's some areas where insurance won't cover you, but how clearly is that communicated?
It's pretty clear and it's pretty standard. So the exceptions to cover in a policy are pretty standard across the industry. And that's one of the things we as the Ombud always look out for. Is this a usual exception that the insurer has relied on to reject the claim, or is it something that now looks different to what we find in the industry? And then we'll probe that and we'll see whether the insured was advised of that up front. But, when it is catastrophic, most insurers play their part. They are not there to repudiate valid claims. They understand the role that insurance plays in financial planning in people's lives. We do, however, see at these times that insurers are stretched resource-wise, and then we get complaints on delays by insurers attending to their claims. But they also put processes in place where they can to fast-track some of these claims.
So these extreme weather events are seemingly quite common now, and they're very severe. What should homeowners be aware of in terms of self-home inspections, roofs, waterproofing, and so on?
Absolutely. It really calls on you as the owner of your property or the one responsible for the property to really take steps before, and knowing that these catastrophic events appear to be happening on a more frequent basis, to really maintain, inspect your home and carry out whatever maintenance you can afford at the time, or plan for this maintenance, because insurance is definitely not there as a maintenance plan. And insurers have experts who will go out, who will inspect at claims time and then determine, but this was happening over time, you didn't carry out proper maintenance, and then you'll find yourself in a position where you're not going to be covered for all of the loss or for part of that loss.
Yeah, and Edite, very quickly, what would your advice be to businesses? Do they need to constantly keep on referring to their business interruption cover to ensure that they're on top of things?
The business interruption won't really come into play here. Again, business interruption is a very specific type of cover, mainly for, business entities. And there again, the same advice would be that when it comes to building cover, you've really got to maintain your property and ensure that it has been built according to the national building regulations. That's also a ground on which an insurer can reject a claim if that contributed to the loss or the damage suffered.
All right, Edite, thank you very much for your time there and for giving us some context on what it means to try and claim at a time like this. That was Edite Teixeira-Mckinon. She is the lead Ombud at Non-Life Insurance Division.